So you know how everyone's always talking about their zodiac sign, or how compatible they are with their crush based on their signs? Well, it turns out that whole system is actually based on some pretty messed up history. I'm your host, and this is Our History. The story of zodiac signs starts way back with the ancient Babylonians around 1800 BCE. They noticed that the sun seemed to move in a path through the sky that lined up with 12 of their constellations. So they divided the sky into 12 sections or signs and associated each one with a constellation. For example, the constellation of the Bull was associated with the month of April, and the constellation of the Twins with the month of June. These signs were also associated with certain deities, and each constellation had its own distinct characteristics. For example, the Ram was known for its fiery and passionate nature, while the Crab was known for its nurturing and protective qualities. The Babylonians also kept track of when certain celestial events occurred within these signs. For example, they noted when the sun entered each sign, and when planets appeared to move backwards in the sky. This knowledge was then used to predict things like the weather and the best time to plant crops. Now, despite the fact that the Babylonians were polytheistic and didn't believe in a supreme being, they did have some beliefs that were later adopted by Abrahamic religions. For example, the Babylonian belief in a great flood that destroyed the world was incorporated into the story of Noah's Ark. And the Babylonian New Year's celebration in March was incorporated into the Christian holiday of Easter. As the Babylonian Empire declined, its knowledge of astronomy and astrology was passed down to the Greeks and Romans. The Greeks adopted the 12 signs of the zodiac and associated them with their own mythology. For example, they associated the Babylonian constellation of the Scorpion with their god Zeus. They also developed their own astrological system, which was more complex than the Babylonian system. The Greeks' most famous contribution to astrology was the introduction of houses. Houses are imaginary regions of the sky that are divided into 12 parts, just like the zodiac. But unlike the zodiac, which only applies to the sun, the houses apply to all the planets. The idea was that each house represents a different area of life, such as love, money, or career. And by studying the positions of the planets in each house, you could gain insight into various aspects of your life. Overall, the Greeks took the Babylonian system of astrology and made it more sophisticated and integrated with their culture. The Romans also adopted Greek astrology, but they added even more mythology to it. For example, they associated the constellation of the Twins with their god Apollo. They also created their own system of houses, which was different from the Greek system. It wasn't until the 3rd century CE that an astronomer named Ptolemy codified the 12 signs and their properties in a work called Tetrabiblos. This work became the foundation of Western astrology and is still used today. Okay, thanks. Bye.